Hey y'all, how's it going? Ken here. We're gonna go over a replay that, well, two replays where we show off us fighting Frieza. Now, Frieza is a very powerful leader, arguably top 3, maybe even top 1 leader in the Fusion World Set 1. He has a lot of good things going for him. Able to restand 2 battle units at the end of his turn once awakened. Is able to be played in an aggro way or also control. Fully utilizes the Guinea Force package consisting of Raccoon, Birder, 2-Chop Ginyu that replenishes 2 energy, Goldo, 1-Drop Ginyu which draws you cards. He's just a very strong leader. Arguably, again, top 3, maybe even the best leader in the game. So, what I want to show you guys is how you can defeat Frieza, at least with Beerus and with Brawly. Now there's, each game will be different depending on what your opponent does, depending on how you build, how you play, etc., etc. But hopefully this overview can show you how to fight Frieza. And Beerus is a very powerful leader to defeat Frieza, and I'll show you why in this match. So we start the game. I don't believe I mulligan, but if you do mulligan as in redraw your entire hand, the card that you want to look for in the Frieza matchup while playing red is this card, Frost. Now Frost, this card completely wins you yellow matchups most of the time. This card says if your opponent's battle cards with 20k power or less can't attack. That is extremely powerful against yellow leaders. Most of their cards have 20k power. Look at this 2-drop Frieza. 20k power. 20k power is what most leaders have in the game, besides Brawly. And this is what makes yellow so strong, being able to just mow down every leader in the game. So here, what we're going to do is we attack into the Frieza. Frieza players like to protect this card. This card is very important to the yellow game plan. Has a 20k body, so even once I'm awakened, I can still get hit. It allows them to add 1 card from their life, so it's a self-awakener. But it's not a one-time self-awakener. As long as this is alive, you can keep using it to self-awaken. And yellow, especially Frieza, likes to self-awaken early. So if you keep this card alive, pretty much this can take like 2, maybe even 3 health from Frieza. And it has another ability where it can rest mode a 3-drop or below. So if I were to have, say, a 1-drop like the Master Roshi here, they would attack me, attack my face, and then that lets them attack into my 1-drop very easily, making it so that they don't have to awaken me, and they can still draw a card. So this card is extremely powerful, played in every yellow deck, and so I attack into it, knowing that they will try to protect it. I don't have to combo into it. I'm just going to attack and they'll just drop something. So they drop a Raccoon. They've used 2 Raccoons already. And so I summon Frost. And so first I attack into this unit, knowing they'll protect it, and then I summon the Frost. That way I got a card out of them. And I got to summon this. Now see, now here they're summoning Raccoon. They use Raccoon, summon the Birder. I'm kind of surprised by the Birder here. Not that it's a bad card, but let's look at their hand. So they have Raccoon. They have the 2-drop Ginyu, SR Ginyu. This is usually the optimal play to summon. However, I guess they're just thinking, why should I summon this? I'm not going to do anything with it. But honestly here, I believe the play would have been to summon this card instead, and then they could have summoned the 1-drop Frieza, hit it into this, and then just like aggro it to this card. But I have so many cards in my hand, they're probably not willing to try and face tank this card yet. So here they decided to attack into me. That's the only thing they can attack, and they want to draw a card. That's fine with me. I'm Beerus. I'm a red leader. I want to awaken. I charge a Frost. I don't need that second Frost. And now here we use our 3-drop Goku. Destroy Birder. The reason we destroy Birder out of all the cards is because this is a 10k combo. Raccoon is a 5k combo, and Frieza is a 5k combo. Even though this Frieza is dangerous, because it's not able to attack, it's not really a threat right now. And Birder, because he's a 10k combo, even if it can't attack, this dude can combo it away. So this is the optimal card to get rid of. And then, if you didn't notice, instead of attacking into the Frieza, we just ended our turn. The reason we do that is because, one, Beerus is a crit leader. So if we attack into the opposing Frieza, they will lose a card. However, we do not gain a card. Crit leaders do not gain a draw off of attacking. So we don't really benefit by attacking Frieza here. If we attack them, then they can flip and choose to go into Golden Frieza. So it'd be better to force them to use another card so that they can self-awaken, rather than us giving them the opportunity to awaken for free, pretty much. So they're forced to charge a card. They only have 5 cards. Now they have 4 cards in hand. They summon the 2-drop Ginyu, get their energy back. Then they summon Cooler. They use Cooler, attack into us. They're going to rest mode Frost. Frost is shutting down the entire field. But that's okay with us. We eat the hit. They use 2 cards here. And then I self-awaken. Now here's another thing. Because they're still in their first form, they only have 15k power. They used 2 cards, I believe. Yeah, they used Naze and Frieza, 2 10ks to go up to 35k. However, my Frost is a 20k, and all I had to do was use a Shin, a super combo. So here's the thing. There have been plenty of games I've played where I've fought Friezas and they've just rest mode my card, and they've dumped like 3 to 4 cards into trying and killing Frost. And you're thinking, oh man, that's crazy. They just used everything. Maybe I should let Frost die. I don't want to use my cards to protect this. No, you should protect this card at all cost. If they spend 4 or 5 cards attempting to get rid of this, that means that they cannot play the game with this card on the field. Like, look at their field. They have 3 cards that cannot do anything because of 1 card. This dude spent 2 cards trying to get rid of this card. So, like I said, protect this card at all costs. Now here, we're going to lower Cooler's power. And then we summon the 3-drop Shin and the Whis. Use Whis to lower this thing's power even more. Attack into it for them to save it. Oh, and then we combo Whis too. So for them to save it, we're at 40k. They would have to use a super combo and a 10k. And with their hand right now, they just don't have anything. I mean, assuming they have a super combo and a 10k, it's still not a good look. Like, they could save this, but then what? Then we would just attack it with Son Goku. We could even attack it with Shin if we wanted. So they're at such a disadvantage here. And again, look at the rest of their field. It's non-existent. It doesn't do anything. And once again, we do not attack into Frieza. We want them to be forced to use a card to self-awaken. If we attack into them, then they gain a card, and they'd be able to attack into us easier. Right now they're at 15k. To actually do damage to our face, they have to spend a card, which is fine by us. They keep charging. They had to charge. If they want to use the Golden Frieza, eventually that's in their hand or even in their deck, they had to charge. So they're being forced to charge. They attack us, but guess what? They're not gonna charge a card. It'd be a waste. And then here, they put Frost into rest mode, but it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter, dude. That's the card that they drew, and they just call it here. That's it. There's nothing they can do. So, when you're playing Beerus versus Frieza, I won't lie to you, this matchup is pretty free. Especially if you get Frost. If you get Frost, you're just winning the game. I would suggest playing 3 to 4 Frost in Beerus, or any red deck. In most red decks, play 3 Frost. The thing is, against most matchups, it doesn't really do much. But you definitely want to play it at 3 at least. So, after seeing that game, I will show you the next game, the Broly versus Frieza game. So let's check that out. Alright, we're back with Broly versus Frieza. Now, this matchup can honestly go either way. Frieza, again, is a top 3 leader in this game. Very powerful. And if built correctly, can beat most decks, if not every deck, with ease. So, let's look at what we have here. We've got a Frieza, we got Broly. Now the thing is, against most leaders in the game, Friezas can attack. They could just swarm the field with Ginyu cards. Captain Ginyu, Raccoon, stuff like that. And they will just overwhelm you with numbers. Now here's the thing with Broly though. Broly, once awakened, has 25k power. This is what makes Broly so strong and a safety pick versus Yellow. Now, this 25k power doesn't make it so that Broly is immune to Yellow. It makes it easier to play into Yellow against the Ginyu Swarm, the Ginyu package. But because Broly also cannot gain a card on attacking, if you continuously attack into Broly and force them to use more and more cards, that's a easy way to whittle Broly down. So let's see how we navigate this game here. So as you see, we get the energy marker here. That means we go second. They charge their 2-drop Frieza. use Zarbon, get the 1-drop Frieza from the deck. We charge the 6-drop Gohan. The reason we charge the Gohan here is because not only do we have another one, but once we awaken, we can send that Gohan to the drop area and then revive it with the Android 16 card. Now, again, here's the 2-drop Frieza. This card is very annoying. Makes it so that all the 1-drops that we summon basically are just like getting bodied for free. And this dude decides to attack into it with Zarbon. At this point, I'm like, well, I'm not going to defend the 1-drop. It's whatever. They're probably thinking, oh, let me just rush down the Brawly. And that's fine with me. They just gave me an easy target to clear off the board. So I attack into that. We don't need to attack into Frieza. That just helps him self-awaken. So we get rid of Zarbon. We draw the Destructive Strength. We just use it. Now, the thing is, a lot of times, people will hold the Destructive Strength and then use it when they're at 3 energy. So we had 2 energy and an energy marker. So basically, we didn't really go anywhere. But because we're getting rushed down by a yellow deck, and because I had so many 1-drops, I thought, hey, I might as well use it now. I'm not sure if I would want to use it in another turn, so let's just use it now. Use it. Use Gohan. We get Selku, 5-drop, Son Goku, our ramp card. So again, they attack into us. We're fine with this. Sadly, Gohan's about to die, but that's okay. Well, we just had to give it up. If you don't plan to awaken anytime soon, I would honestly say just to keep the 1-drops in your hand. It's basically just a 1-for-1. So unless you're missing your ramp card, unless you're missing your ramps, there's no reason to keep summoning 1-drops before you awaken if they have this card. So they summoned the 1-drop Ginyu here. 1-drop Ginyu is pretty dangerous. We got that card, but we just charge it. We attack into them just to gain another card. The reason we do this is because we have a plan here. We have Vegeta in our hand. So what we're going to do here is we're going to summon Vegeta. This allows us to ramp with the Destructive Strength that we just used last turn. And we're going to use it, his ability, send Gohan to the drop zone, and then get rid of the 1-drop Ginyu. Now, the thing is, 1-drop Ginyu is very annoying. A very powerful card. You cannot let this card live. Most of the time, Green has issues getting rid of this card, but they do have several ways to remove it from the field. As seen here, we have the 4-drop Vegeta. Sure, I had to use 1 card to remove it from the field, but it's worth. Because if they get to use that Ginyu Frog several times, they just gain so much advantage. It's such a pain to deal with. Green also has another card called I-Beam or Evil I-Beam, something like that. It's a 1-cost extra card that lets you destroy 2 1-drops on the field. And we also have Son Gohan Childhood 5-drop that lets you destroy or KO 1 card that costs 4 or less. So we have several ways to get rid of Ginyu Frogs, but right here we're going to use Vegeta. And the sooner you get rid of the Ginyu Frog, the better. So really, I never attack with the Vegeta. I just keep it here for a combo power. So here, it looks like my opponent does not want this Vegeta to live. I'm completely fine with it dying. Whenever my opponents attack into this, I'm cool with it. I rarely attack with that Vegeta. and then they attack into me. At this point, I'm thinking, alright, do it, man. I need to awaken. I want to awaken. And then they attack me. This just benefits me because I get to awaken on my opponent's turn. Sadly, we lose a gigantic meteor, but that's okay. We have plenty of cards in our hand. We get rid of Paragus. We don't need this Paragus anymore. We mainly just keep this to help us self-awaken if needed. And they restand their cards. We charge that card. We don't need it anymore. We use the Gohan, going up to 4 life. Now, a Brawly at 3 life is pretty standard, but now we have a Brawly at 4 life. A 4 life Brawly is a pain to deal with. We combo the Gohan away. The main reason we combo Gohan away is because we want the, we're thinking, oh, if they attack with Frieza, that just means they get to attack with the Gohan for free. So I might as well combo it away. However, because I comboed with the Gohan, I was able to go up to 30k power. Because I go up to 30k power, they're thinking, oh man, I don't want to go down to 3. Going down to 3 is pretty dangerous, especially against green. Against any deck, going down to 3 is a pain, but green has such high power units that once you go down to 3, it's so much easier to go down to 2. And then once you go down to 2, it's over. You're just admitting defeat at that point. You had to deal with double strikers, you had to deal with Brawly, there's so many ways. So, even though we just comboed to make sure we gained value, it helped us because they had to use 2 cards while we only use 1 card. So that's another advantage of Brawly's high power. And again, we attack with freaking Gohan, and they had to use a super combo. They don't want to go down to 3 life, dude. It's just too dangerous to go down to 3 life. Now, what we could have did was we could have just attacked with Brawly and then used the super, the 1-drop Gohan to make this one's attack higher, but it's whatever. I'm not sure how much of a difference it would make. So here they actually summon Mecha Frieza. This is a surprise. I see this card once in a while. I do like it, but for consistency's sake, I just don't run it. Because it lets you, it kind of forces you to run the King Colds, and that's just too much deck space. But I can see it working out if you want to go wide. So they summon Mecha Frieza, attack us. We had to use a card to defend. And then they attack with King Cold. At this point, I'm wanting to eat the hit. I'll go down to 3. Brawly's naturally a 3 cost leader, so it's whatever to me. I don't want to use the cards on my hand. And then they restand their field. Now, here's the thing. Their field is wide enough. I charged the Brawly. I already have a Brawly in my hand, so it's fine for me to charge a Brawly here. I summon Gohan, the 7-drop Gohan. They have 4 cards in their field. If they had even like 3, I still would have played this. If they had like 2, maybe not. Honestly, if they had 2, if they were like really strong cards, I probably would have still summoned it. But 3 to 4 cards, it's just so worth. Now let's look at their hand real quick. What do they have in their hand? They have King Cold, another Mecha Frieza, 1-drop Frieza, this is surprising, Super Combo, Golden Frieza, and Ginyu. So next turn, the Ginyu doesn't really do anything. You need 3 or more battle cards with Frieza Army in your hand, so they would summon, they'd be at 5 energy. I mean, they could technically charge 1, but they would have to like charge away something. So they could summon this, but can't really do anything. And then summon Mecha Frieza, summon King Cold, No, but they can't even do that because that requires 6 energy. This Ginyu, it doesn't do anything next turn. So this Ginyu does nothing. They could summon Golden Frieza, but I'm still at 2 life. I would still be at like 1 life. They only have 6 cards in their hand. This doesn't do anything for them. These cards combined don't really help them. Like sure, you could attack with this and then attack with this, but because they have like so little combo power in their hand, I just have to use one card, and then their field's gone. Like they can't really do much. Their field is gone. Once you get field wipe 3 to 4 dudes, it's just over. There's not much you can really do. So, the best ways to deal with Frieza is usually to lock down their board or remove their board as much as possible. That's at least one way to handle Frieza, because Yellow and Frieza in general, their main power comes from their board state. Usually they have several cards with 20k power, or they'd end up summoning something like the 4-drop Frieza. Actually, let's go and check the card pool real quick so that we can discuss this a little more. Alright, y'all, so here we are about to check out some tech cards and cards that we use in our Brawly and Beerus decks, and cards that you have to play around when facing Frieza. So let's check them out. So the top cards that a yellow deck usually will use are, and Frieza in particular, are Ginyu, SR Ginyu. When summoned, if you have 3 or more battle cards with Frieza's army in it, then you can switch 2 of your energy to active mode. Essentially, if you summon this card, it pays for itself. And if they use Raccoon to summon that card, then they get to basically get 2 energy back for free, making this a 1 energy play, if you look at it that way. Another cards that you have to play around are Cooler. This card is very strong in general. When it's attacking, you put a card into rest mode. When it's blocking, it puts a card into rest mode. 30k power. Very strong. You pretty much say, oh, and then when it rest mode, a 2-drop or below, it gets destroyed. So this is a card you have to deal with. You have to get rid of this pretty much immediately. We have the 4-drop Frieza, 40k power body. Something just to be aware of, this 40k beater that you have to play around at all times. So keep your combos in hand to handle this and find a way to handle it. Of course, there's the double strikes. Gotta deal with the double strike. Never go down to 2 life against any deck. Going down to 2 life means you're pretty much admitting defeat, unless you just have so much combo. But it's just easier to stay at 4 to 3 life than to go down to 2 life. 2 life, you're trying to win the game. Other cards that green use are Golden Death Beam, mainly to get rid of Frost, or other cards like Ginyu Frogs. But there's also Crusher Ball, again to get rid of Frost. Supernova, just a tech card, big damage. And that's mainly the really strong cards that Friezas will use. Sometimes they'll use Kui. Kui's a pretty strong tech card. Not very seen often, but if you do have this, if they have this card, it's just something you have to play around. It's mainly a good counter against green, but against red and blue, it's not so much as used. So now let's go into Brawly. So with Brawly and green in general, the way to defeat Frieza is to try and deal with their board and just try to survive. So the best way to survive would be to use, well, in most matchups, you want to use your little 1-drops, MOA included, so that you can just use them to protect your life. You could even use Shamoan if you really want to, just protect your life. However, if they have the 2-drop Frieza, your 1-drops is snacks for the opposing leader to just get free hits on. So in that case, a tech card that you can use against Frieza and yellow is Trunks Future. This is a 25k beater with 10k combo. The downside of this card is it cannot attack opposing leaders. However, because it's a 25k body for 2, this card can easily get rid of the 2-drop Frieza. Any 2-drop that yellow decks will play, the Ginyu cards, Frieza, anything really. And for them to get rid of it, they would have to combo a 10k, well, a 5 to 10k. If for them to use 1 to 2 cards just to get rid of this card, is definitely worth it. It means that there's 1 less attack going to your face, which means you can survive longer. The longer you survive, the more you can ramp. The more you can ramp, the more likely you are to win the game when playing green. We also have the 2-drop Paragus that has the ability to let you self-awaken. The reason you would want to use this card is because sometimes players will get Brawly down to 5 life, and once they get you down to 5 life, they'll leave you at 5 life, and then they'll attack you with a card with Double Strike, and it's a lot more difficult to defend yourself when you're 15k than if you were to be a 20 to 25k, right? So if you're at 5 life, they attack you. Once you awaken, you lose a life. It says add up to 1 card from your life to your energy in rest mode, then flip. So whenever Brawler awakens, he goes to 3 life, usually. However, if you go from 5 to 3 life, that means when you awaken, you'll be at 2 life. This is a huge disadvantage. You're pretty much in double strike range immediately. So if you were to fight any deck really, and you're worried about double strikes, try and run Paragus. Try to run in like 3 to 4 copies of this card. You do not want to get hit with double strikes while playing Brawly, especially while playing Brawly. Now, other cards that we have for techs, we have you can use Android 17. Does the same thing, lets you self-awaken, but it costs 4 instead of 2. It isn't a 10k combo. However, it does let you bring back Android 18, the Android 18 2-drop. This card is pretty good, lets you draw, is a 20k beater. You can use it for combo. So this is a good tech card. You can try using Tien. I don't really like the Tien so much, but it is a self-awakener. And it's a 10k combo, so you could use it also. I would rather use Paragus than this card though. The Vegetas are good cards. Use this card, ramp, get rid of little dudes on the field, can KO cards that are 2 or less, so lets you get rid of Ginyu cards, get you Ginyu Frog. the 2-drop Frieza. Just get rid of everything. And it's a 10k combo. This is a must-have in green decks. You would want to run 4 copies. This is so good. Why not? This Gohan, you summon it, it can KO a card that costs 4 or less. So this is a card that lets you get rid of Cooler easily. Lets you get rid of anything really, as long as it's not a 5-drop and above. But to get rid of those little pesky dudes on the field, this is a pretty solid card. I would definitely recommend running 2 to 3 copies of this card. You could try running 6-drop Son Gohan, gains life. Pretty solid card. Is a beater. Lets you play around double strikes. Giving Brawly extra health is such a pain. So definitely try running this card. I would suggest 2 to 3 copies. 4 seems like a bit much. But yeah, this is a pretty solid tech card. Son Gohan Childhood, the 7-drop. This card is bananas. If you have it, try running 1. I would suggest 2 copies. Brawly and other green leaders just fold to Ginyu Swarm. Just Swarm in general. And if you wipe out like 3+ cards on your opponent's field, it's very deflating. And they probably used up a ton of their good cards on the field. So once you just wipe those out, they have to start all over again. They probably only have 1 to 2 dudes left on the field. If they summon more, they're probably 1-drops. Or like 2 2-drops. This card is super good against yellow. Highly recommend running 2. Or at least 1. Instant Kamehameha is also another tech card. I could see people not running this card because it requires you to use to get rid of 1 energy and put in your drop. So unless you have the 5-drop Son Goku on the field, it's not really as powerful. However, this is pretty much an emergency card, offensively and defensively. If you have Son Gohan, then you can use this card very easily. If you don't have Son Gohan on the field, then this card could be detrimental, but it's always nice to have. I would suggest running 1 to 2 copies if you want to run it. If you don't run it, that's okay. You can run 0. In my Brawly deck, I currently run 0, but there have been builds where I've run 1 to 2 copies. It's a very powerful card. If your opponent sees you at 0 energy, they'll think, hey, I can attack them. They don't have energy for their gigantic meteor. Well, guess what? You just used this and they overextended because they weren't playing around this card. A lot of people don't play around this card because, again, you need Goku to be on the field, usually, to use it, or there's this that's just not keeping in mind. Like, usually you either play around super combos or you play around 10Ks. You don't really play around a 0 cost 15k combo. But it's always something to keep in mind, and it could throw your opponents off. This is a pretty solid tech card. Next tech card is I-Beam. I see this once in a while, but it's definitely a solid card. Choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards of cost of 1 or less and KO them. So this lets you get rid of all the yellow 1-drops. Let's say, gets rid of Jace, the Zarbon, the Ginyu Frog, Sorbet, Frieza, and not just yellow. It lets you get rid of any 1-drops, really. So this is a solid tech card. If you do not like the Ginyu Frog, definitely run this card. Honestly, most of the time I find this unnecessary, but against other yellow decks is actually a pretty solid tech card. And then the final tech card we can have is Big Bang Attack. Big Bang Attack, use 1 energy from your energy area, put it in your drop. Choose one of your opponent's cards, will cost of 5 or less, and KO it. And if you're at 6 energy, this card, instead of costing 2, will cost 1. So again, if you have 5 drop Goku, you pretty much play this card and you don't really lose any energy. This card's pretty solid to get rid of. Most colors double strikers since Golden Frieza's 5 drop. Any other colors double strikers usually 5 drop. Only the green double striker is 6 drop. So you could get rid of Turles, you could get rid of Son Goku, you could get rid of a lot of cards with a Big Bang Attack. If you find Golden Frieza to be a problem, or you just want to get rid of it easier, then try running Big Bang Attack. This is a pretty solid card. And on to the next deck. We'll look at Beerus. Now there's 2 ways I play Beerus. There's aggro and control. However, the deck that I played in my video was a control variant, so we'll be looking at that. Now with Beerus, the best way to get rid of a Frieza is to control the board. So the best ways to control the board is with Beerus's effect, making the cards lose 10k power. However, if you're not in your flip state, you're just in your regular state, you can attack into Frieza. However, I would suggest not doing that because Friezas want to awaken as soon as possible. If you have the chance, just don't attack into Frieza. Attack into their cards. And then we have Whis. Whis is pretty solid, just reduces cards' powers for 5k. However, against Frieza in particular, you may not want to summon this card because it's a 1-drop, and again, they have the 2-drop Frieza that can just rest mode your 3 drops and below. So this card will just die for free. You have this Whis that does the same thing as the other Whis, but for only 1 turn. And this is a pretty solid card because you could reduce something's power by 5k and then just combo it away. Say I reduce 2-drop Frieza by 5k, making it 15k, and then I attack into it using this. The attack would be like 30k off of Beerus, because Beerus, when he's attacking, he'd have 20k power. 10k, that's 30k. For them to protect that, they would have to use 2 10ks, which is very worth. 2 10ks versus your 1 card. I would say that's a worth retrade. We have Hit. Hit is pretty solid. Again, Hit could just attack into the 2-drop Frieza or any card really. Make it lose 5k power. And then they had the combo to try and save it. And if you do that, the 2-drop Frieza would be 15k. And then Beerus will attack, that's another card they have to use 15k. Again, they end up using 2 10ks to try and protect that 1 card, which they do want to protect. But in general, this card is good to get rid of annoying 1-drops. Fuwa. Fuwa is an amazing card. This card is good in like every matchup. Make them lose 15k power. So I keep going back to the 2-drop Frieza, but that's such a powerful card. You make the 2-drop Frieza go down to 5k, they're not going to defend that card anymore. It's not worth defending anymore. I mean, they could defend it. Like if you attack with them with Frieza, then they would use 2 10ks or a super combo. Or you could just attack into it use Fuwa as a combo. You're a 30k, they're a 5k. They would have to use 3 cards or a super combo and a 10k to defend that 2-drop Frieza. And if they do that early, it's very worth. But this card is good in general. It can make the Cooler go down to 15k. They definitely want to defend Cooler. But the thing with Beerus in general is like once you lower that power enough, it can be very detrimental to try and protect your cards. Like say I make their card go down to 15k. Yeah, I could make their card go down to 15k, attack into it, and then they use a combo to try and protect it. But then say I summon this card, Son Goku, 3-drop afterward, and destroy their card anyway. It's like you could play so many mind games with these cards. Like, say I'm at 5 energy. I use my Beerus Leader's effect, do 10k, make the Cooler go to 20k, attack in the Cooler, they defend it, and then I don't even have to summon Fuwa. I could just summon Goku and just destroy it. And they tried to defend the Cooler, but there's so many ways to destroy their cards. So that's a good way to fight a Frieza and yellow decks in general. You pretty much just want to combo your cards into them, or reduce their cards' power and force them to use combo, or at least bait cards out of them, because early on they may be willing to use cards to defend their life. However, once that happens to them a few times, they will not be willing to defend their cards anymore. And at that point, it's mind games. Maybe you have no way to destroy their cards anymore. Maybe you reduce their card to 20k, and then you just attack into it, and they're like, oh, I'll let it die. I know it's going to die anyway. And it's like, yeah, but I didn't have Goku in my hand. I didn't have Fuwa in my hand. I just did it, and it worked. So that could work out in your favor. Another card, an amazing card into the yellow matchup, especially Frieza, is Frost. This card completely shuts down Frost. If you want to use this card, just destroy card. It just shuts down the Ginyu cards because they all have 20k power or less. None of the Ginyu cards have 25k power. And basically at that point, the only cards that the yellow decks would be attacking with are 3-drop vanillas, Coolers, 4-drop Friezas, and 5-drop Golden Frieza. And those cards all cost 3 or more, usually 4 or more. So if you have this card in your deck, try to mulligan for it. It's very powerful. Again, in the yellow matchup, your 1-drops are not going to probably live that often. So you might as well just summon this card, and then your opponent's just going to suffer. They can't really do anything. Unless they have a Golden Death Beam, or they combo like pretty much their entire hand away, and you have a bunch of 0 combo cards in your hand, this card's going to live for a long time, and it completely wins you the yellow matchup. Another card that lets you win against Frieza is the 5-drop Beerus. You summon it, discard 1 card, and destroy all cards with 25k power or less on their side. This field wipes the entire Ginyu Force. They're just gone. And if you're playing Beerus, then you just get to summon him. I mean, you get to use your ability, reduce a card's power by 10k. If they have Golden Frieza or even cooler, that goes from they'll go to 20k to 25k, and this Beerus would just destroy that card too. This card is very powerful against yellow. What other cards are good against yellow? Batamo's okay. Yellow actually has a difficult time dealing with this. The only way for them to deal with it is with Golden Death Beam, I guess. This card beats so many cards in yellow because again they're all 20ks. This card's kind of decent. I wouldn't really run it, but producing cards powered by 10k, not bad. The 4-drop Son Goku is also solid. Reduces cards power by 15k and it's just a beater. When paired with Beerus, you pretty much reducing cards power by 25k. So that's a pretty solid card. 4-drop Gohan reduces cards powered by 10k and is a 25k beater. Pretty solid card, reducing cards by 10k. I pair with Beerus, that's 20k. So that just destroys an entire card. Also get rid of 1-drops. A good, nice card to have in general is the Tournament Power Arena. You can use this card offensively and defensively. However, against yellow, I would definitely use this card defensively. Unless you gain 5k power like every turn or two. So on your opponent's turn, they attack your face. Use this card. You pretty much save the card in your hand. Other cards you can use are Time Skip. Time Skip lets you choose any number of opponent's battle cards, and if they're 35k power or less, KO them. So this could get rid of, let's say, a Golden Frieza, a Cooler, and a 5-drop, or a 1-drop with 5k power. Possibly even two drops. You could just reduce a card with Beerus' effect, and then get rid of two drops. Not a bad card. I honestly don't run it because it costs 3. However, I could see people running this card, especially if you have the 1-drop Roshi that will make it cost 2 energy instead. Kamehameha is a pretty decent card, defensively, unoffensively, makes a card lose 5k power. Golden God Kamehameha is pretty solid, just get rid of a 30k power less unit. And I guess that is it. The main way for Red to get rid of Frieza, at least Beerus. The thing is, Beerus has so many ways to deal with Frieza. Has the 3-drop Son Goku, the Whis. Fuwa is a really powerful card, and is mainly this Beerus. Like, you have so many options to just play around a Frieza with Beerus, especially with this Frost. This is the main card, it's the important card that you want to see. If Beerus Frieza is giving you trouble, play 4 copies of this. If Frieza is not really an issue, I would still say run at least 3 copies of this. Like, Beerus in general completely counters Frieza to the point it actually makes Beerus like arguably a top 3 leader in the game. So I would suggest running 3 to 4 copies. 3 to 4 copies of Son Goku. And definitely 3 to 4 copies of Fuwa. And 2 copies of Beerus, or 1. You only really need 1, but 2 again, if you are worried about Frieza and Yellow in particular. But yeah, thanks for watching, y'all. I really appreciate it. That is my leader breakdown this week for versus Frieza. This is my first time doing this leader breakdown. Let's see if this well, I did enjoy making this video, and hopefully you guys enjoyed watching it. Maybe you guys learned something from it. Let's if there's something I'm missing, just tell me. Maybe there's a tech card I don't know about. Maybe there's some advice that you guys have for the Frieza matchup. Let me know. And like the video, please leave a like, a comment, possibly subscribe. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.